On Baseball Image Brewers bench coach Pat Murphy, center, was the coach at Notre Dame when Milwaukee manager Craig Counsell, right, played there. CreditCreditMatt Marton, Associated Press. Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Brewers were finishing their pre-game practice last week at Miller Park, going through the rote exercises teams have used forever. Pat Murphy, the Brewers bench coach, gestured to an infielder scooping a lazy ground ball, that's 71 miles an hour, he said, guessing the speed. Not many balls are hit 71 miles an hour. It's easily caught. You and I could go out there right now and catch it, so what are we doing here? I want to look at that. But I'm also smart enough to know that I want to grow and get better, but some things are just the way they are. The Brewers have successfully challenged other conventions in baseball, notably by their early and aggressive use of relievers in the postseason, and Murphy embodies a different kind of change. In a sport that rarely looks outside the pro ranks for coaches, the Brewers have two prominent ones with a background mostly in college baseball. Murphy coached in college from 1983 through 2009, mostly with Notre Dame and Arizona State. The Brewers pitching coach, Derek Johnson, worked in college jobs from 1994 through 2012, the last 11 seasons as an assistant at Vanderbilt. It's a different style of teaching that really, I think, appeals to the players, Brewers manager Craig Counsell said. If you can provide diversity in your teaching, diversity in your voice, I think you've got a better chance of connecting to players. Counsell was undrafted out of high school but started all 4 years for Murphy at Notre Dame, hitting .307 and becoming an 11th round pick by Colorado in 1992. Murphy persuaded the Rockies to bump Counsell's bonus by $1,000, all the way to $5,000. Counsell went on to play 16 years in the majors, with a toughness Murphy first recognized when Counsell broke his nose with one of those practice grounders. He went off the field, went to the hospital, they fixed his nose, and he's back on the field in a blood-soaked uniform taking ground balls, and it was like 42 degrees out in South Bend, Murphy said. I just kind of watched him grow every year. Counsell wanted to hire Murphy when he got the Brewers job early in the 2015 season. Murphy was managing the Class AAA El Paso Chihuahuas in the San Diego farm system, but the Padres kept him and later in 2015 made him the interim manager after firing Bud Black. Murphy went 42-54 with the Padres that season, and when they told him afterward that he was not a candidate for a full-time job, Counsell asked Murphy again to be his bench coach. Counsell considered Murphy an ideal dugout advisor because he would not be afraid to challenge him, and his extroverted personality would help connect with players. General Manager David Stearns understood the benefits. It's something Craig and I talked about at the front end, that there is a skill set in developing a college program that potentially can be applicable to developing young players at the major league level, said Stearns, who hired Johnson the same day as Murphy. Both those guys had a tremendous amount of experience at a very high level of collegiate baseball, and at the time that we hired them, they also had pretty extensive experience in pro baseball. We knew we were going to have a young team, so we thought it was a pretty good match. Image. Milwaukee pitching coach Derek Johnson, second from right, helped turn Vanderbilt into a factory of future major league pitchers. Credit. John Minchillo, Associated Press. Johnson had left Vanderbilt before the 2013 season to join the Chicago Cubs as minor league pitching coordinator. He had helped turn Vanderbilt into a factory of future major league pitchers, including David Price, Sonny Gray and Mike Minor. Tim Corbin, the Vanderbilt head coach, said Johnson had specialized in arm care and coached players with sincerity that has translated well to the pros. It's about what you breathe life into every day, Johnson said. Your philosophy is only as good as, can you make it feel alive to these players? You can talk about a concept at the beginning of spring training and never mention it again. It's something you have to be nurturing daily. You've got to be a farmer in some ways. In college, Johnson said, a coach can more easily tell a player what to do. In the pros, a coach tends to wait for cues from the players, who have already demonstrated an elite skill level. It always comes down to trust, he said, and Murphy agreed. In the big leagues, you have to find a different way to build a relationship with players, Murphy said. But then again, it does meld together at the end, because it's really about respect and love, it really is. It's about building respect for who that player is and showing them that you're in it for the right reason, you're in it for them. And when you're in it for them, they will reciprocate. Murphy described himself as a gruff taskmaster in college, and he is still blunt with players. But he is also boisterous in a life of the party way. In a 15-minute interview before Game 1 of the National League Championship Series, he stopped 4 times to hug, banter with or trade barbs with an umpire, a reporter, a player and an opposing coach. Murph keeps it loose, likes to have fun, outfielder Christian Yelich said. All the players really like him. He's not afraid to joke, and that's part of our culture. Murphy's Arizona State program produced several prominent major leaguers: Dustin Pedroia, Jason Kipnis, Mike Leake, Andre Ethier and others. Murphy turned Austin Barnes into a catcher, setting him on his path to the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Brewers' opponent in the NLCS. He established the importance of good at-bats, Barnes said. He made it known that you need to walk to be on the team. There were guys who just struck out and didn't get on base. I remember one of the first meetings, he said, if you don't have your on-base percentage 100 points higher than your batting average, you won't play here. That stuck out to me. He's a very smart dude. Murphy transitioned to the pros after Arizona State fired him in November 2009, the result of an NCAA investigation that criticized Murphy for a cavalier attitude toward regulations but cleared him of ethical misconduct. The school vacated its 2007 conference title and cut 2 scholarships, and the NCAA imposed a 1-year postseason ban. In general, Murphy said, prominent college coaches tend to stay in college because entry-level pro jobs do not pay enough. Baseball is also fundamentally different from pro football and basketball because of its extensive minor leagues. Yet, with the success of the Brewers, and the changing dynamics of baseball's front offices, others could follow Johnson and Murphy. What you haven't seen is a Nick Saban kind of person crossover, someone who's had success in college baseball and translated that over to the pro game, Corbin said. But pro ball has changed at the administrative level. You're getting a different breed of people there. There's more of an education background, so to speak, in those positions, and they may look at a college coach as more of a viable option to lead an organization. James Wagner contributed, reporting from Los Angeles.